Hello and welcome to another video here from Synched Stories. I'm Chris, and today we're going to continue redrawing Tintin. So we are in the Castafiore Emerald album, and we are here on page 33, and we're drawing panel A2. So this is the second panel on the first row. My number scheme here is that A is row number 1 and B is row number 2, etc. So A2 is row 1, panel 2. Okay, so today's lesson then, or lesson, but today's what we're going to do here is to refine everything here that is in red so that it will be blue. And I'm going to, but knowing my speed, or rather my lack of speed in terms of getting things really nailed down as detailed as I want them, I will be starting off with the hand, because I think the hand is the hardest one here to get really nice. So what I would want to do today is to take both the hand and the sweat drops and the balloon tail up here. If we could finish these guys off in this session, that would be great. Otherwise we'll be content if we just will finish the hand, and then we'll take the balloon tail and the sweat drops in another part. But we are making great progress. Anyway, we have done so many parts already where we are searching for the right dimensions, the right line weight, and the line quality, and I think this is going very well. So let's start in 200% as we have here right now and look at the hand. Maybe we can do, let's do it at 300% instead. I will taking up, and as usual I have my reference picture here on my left monitor, which you cannot see. So a good thing would be for you if you can do it right now, or you can do it later, but the best thing would be if you take your own Castafiore Emerald and had that to look at. And the best thing would be, and even better, if you can scan it in and get it up on your screen beside mine. So you can especially if you have two monitors as well, and even if you just have one monitor, you could put your scan of page 33, you could put it on the left hand side of your screen, and then you can have the YouTube video on the right hand, and in the middle, and on the right hand. So you could sort of follow along in the details, because it's in the details where we sort of make this happen, or at least I do. Maybe that's not your style, to be like so concerned with details that I am. I mean, but I think it's a very, it's not just about drawing Tintin, this video. It's about getting better at translating one form from one reference to your own drawing somewhere else. So on the left I have a reference picture which I'm looking at, and then on the right hand side I'm actually redrawing it. So I'm here very concerned about with all the angles and all the line quality and all. And if that's not your thing, then probably this video will not be so helpful. But if you like that kind of detailed look to trying to improve your overall skills of translating the so-called reality around us onto a piece of paper, then perhaps this video can be nice. And it's also, this video is also about a third thing, and that is it's about persistence, and to take it easy and relax, and to realize that we have to sort of, in order to enjoy the process, we have to sort of disappear into the process and just concentrate on the red lines and on the blue lines and on the thickness of the line and on the position of the line and in the angle of the lines and all that. And so it's a very special thing. So patience and perseverance and relaxation ultimately. No pressure, no, we don't have any time limit on, well, we have a time limit on this video, but we don't have any time limit on this whole exercise in terms of like all the parts, and they can be 20 hours or they can be 40 hours totally, you know, like that. So we don't think like that. So we just try to become better at that which we love, which is keeping our lines, loving our lines, so to speak. So we are sort of nurturing the lines, we are caressing the lines, we are honing the lines, we are doing all these things. Alright, so before we go on, I just want to talk about quickly here my project. You have seen this if you have seen the other parts, but still 987 degrees centigrade, Unlimited Danger Season 1, and this is the first volume. It's 40 pages printed, high quality print, high quality paper, and we have the whole Season 1 here in one picture with 8 volumes. And 987 degrees centigrade is of course just the first one. Then we have all these collision course Earth and the open source force and the alien signal and forbidden territory and the power of Colloidiana, countdown, Genesis, and the final battle. So that's it. And so of course this is science fiction, action, thriller, adventure, and Barry Riley, as he is here, he's a space captain, and he's sort of arrogant and energetic and always in trouble. Okay. All right, so that sort of sums that up, and then let's go on with today's part. Alright, so now we're going to recheck the position and measurements, and before we actually go on though, I'm going to create a new folder here. And I'm going to start here, because hand refined, and we are on port 9 now. And this way, when we're looking at a video, we can see where I was working with this folder here. So I didn't use this scheme in the beginning of this series, but I will number each part here in the layers, as you see here on the left, so we can go back easily and identify the exact video where I did it. Okay, good. So the hand refined, and now we want to layer off also, of course. And I think this is an empty one anyway, so let's check it if it is empty. Let's zoom out a little bit. Yeah, it looks empty. Okay, good. 200%, 300%, and Alt, keeping Alt down and just dragging it down. We'll get a new empty layer there. And we call it hand R start. We can call it start here. Alright, and then we multiply, and let's see what we want to have. We want to have the Tintin moved right. That one we want. And then we want the result there from part 6 or something. And we want to have also the calculus refined. Oh, here it is. So it's usually, of course, the topmost layer in each folder that I'm selecting. And also, of course, we want the balloon itself. Should be that one, but actually what we could do, which is quite simple, we could just duplicate this, and we could just take to clean this up a little bit, so all this stupid dummy texture is so ugly to look at, so I can't stand it. So alright, so how did this look in solo? Right, so we just have to, let's keep it going solo there, and I'll just paint it in like that with the bucket there, and then Alt down and clicking on the visibility, and then we get back all the layers that we have selected. And we want the frame also, and the title we can hide. Okay, good. So we are at 300%, and so there are a couple of things we could do. I think let's talk some general things about the red hand now. The position here with the thumb is a little too much to the left, I think. Should be somewhat closer to the ear, So I would want to let's fold in Tintin here, and let's so I'm going to copy it to the hand. See if I can get it in here. Let's flip this in here, and the sweat also there. And then I can just select it and alt drag it to the hand. And I'm putting it hopefully this was, no, it was calculus. Okay, good. Oh, all right. So I made a mistake. It wasn't calculus. I should take the. It is calculus's hand, but the, oh, here it is, hand sketch. That's the name. Hand S should it be? Okay, so I'm putting, since we are now in part 9, and I want to refine hand S, let's call it that then. Copied from below. Okay. So we're going to look at that instead now. And I'm hiding this hand. I'm flipping it down there. Okay, good. So we now have a new red layer here, which is absolutely identical to the previous one, but now I can move it. Of course, it is copied from below, so we can say moved to the right. Right, and then I'm going to move it where, so we have to have the thumb in the right place. And I think that, as I said in the one of the previous videos here, I think the general strategy is if you have an object that is covering Tintin's face, what you want to do, I think, you may agree with me or not, but this is about composition. This is not about, like, if you take a photograph of a live situation or something like that, then you cannot really control exactly where things are, unless you do it in the studio as a very deliberate exercise in composition like that, but otherwise you cannot really control where things end up in the final picture. But here, as in the studio, at a photography studio or camera, Hollywood studio, wherever, you really are meticulously, in many cases, controlling exactly where things end up in the final image. And this is, so here what I want to say is that if we have any object in the foreground or very close to Tintin anyway, but sort of in front of Tintin, whether much in front of him or almost at the same distance, then we have to sort of move away from the eyes and the mouth, I think. I think I think it's better that the hand is close to the ear than it is to the mouth. So if we can make an example here. I'm having shift now, and I did 3, 1, 2, 3, right? 1, 2, 3. So if we were to have it there, I think that's becomes much less attractive result. And if we go 3 up, if we, or 4 or 5 or something like that, and have the thumb almost at the ear, that wouldn't be very good as well. So the general rule must be to keep it away from the frontal portion, so to speak, the mouth and the eyes and the nose. And another principle is, of course, that we want to minimize the area. We want to minimize the area covering his face. So here, I mean, we're playing with a very small panel here, since the whole panel is almost covered by the balloon itself. So but I think in terms of optimizing this design, the only possibility to place the hand would be here. But then the question can be raised: why couldn't we just do like this? If we didn't want to have it, if it's not so good to have it in the face, then why not just move it? Well, then we have this other principle, which is to always show how should I put this? We want to show the whole hand, always. If we show one part of the hand, when we show the whole hand. That's also one rule in some. So if like in the movies, if you want to see the face, you have to have the whole face. You don't show just half a face. Okay, they do that sometimes in extreme close-ups of just the eyes or something, but that's but in normal situations you don't. I mean, if you so the rule is, if you have space, so we could regard extreme close-ups simply as a frame. And then the magnification is such that you cannot in any case change the because it's filling the whole frame. So then of course you could have a close-up of a hand, for instance, if you're like the parameter that you are saying is that, okay, I want 3000% close up on the hand, on the finger. Okay, you can have like a close up, or like if you call it an insert or whatever you call it, but okay, so then that's settled. Then of course you can't fit it into the frame, the full hand. I mean, if that's your if that's the shot that you have decided, then of course that's. But in normal situations, we always see the whole hand. Okay, so then And here, of course, the magnification of the hand, or the sort of the camera lens, and the zooming in or the zooming out, or the focal length, whatever you want to call it. If this is, we've here decided that the size of the hand is like it's a fifth of the panel width, or something like that, or so it should. So, and in this situation, when it can fit in the frame, if this size is decided, and if it can fit in, it should fit in the frame. However, since the panel has such a very tiny height because of the super big balloon, then we have to make some adjustments. We have to make some relative prioritizing here. So what do we want most? Do we want the hand the most, or do we want the head the most? And the answer is we want the head the most. So of course we could have made it another situation. We could have sort of taken the hand, and we could have made it a little bigger like that. Then we would have had the whole hand. And of course we had to fill in this here, this part of the hand, and the jacket or the suit here. But we could have made it this way. But then we would have to move Tintin up, because now the thumb is hiding too much Tintin. But if we move Tintin up, then we have to move Professor Calculus up also, because he's long. He may be longer, but at least we don't know exactly if he's longer just from this shot, because the camera or the angle, because Tintin is is behind Calculus here. So but as it is right here, if we were to move Tintin up, then Calculus would have to move even more up, and then even more into the balloon. So that's the problem. So we want Professor Calculus to be as little in the balloon as possible. Or no, you cannot say that either, because he cannot. And this is the tricky part with comics. You have to really watch your distances here. So you cannot drag Calculus more down than this. Why? Because then these lines will create a very strange effect here. So the eye will sort of get a little bulge there. But now this bulge is big enough for this not to be an accident. This is basically you cannot have too small deviations. They have to be controlled and designed like that. So I think I haven't made it like a scientific thing where I go through all of Tintin's panels in all of his books, but I think you will find, if you do that, then I think you'll find that a good designer always have to if he wants to like merge like a balloon with a head like this going into the balloon, then the minimum distance in would be something like this that we have here. And then of course you can go in much more if you want, but you don't want that. You don't want to have the whole head in the balloon. So there's a design. It's designed. It's very well composed. It's very nicely made from in terms of all these relationships between the lines on the page and like that. Okay, let's go back to 300% and down to the hand, and now we're going to have to move the hand down as we had it. And we're now going to draw with our cyan, as we have done so many times before. And we're going to draw on the right layer here. So I'm not drawing on the red layer, but I'm drawing on the R layer, the refined layer. Okay, I'm now comparing the two once more. I'm sitting here looking left, looking right, looking left, looking right. And it's not that bad, but I think actually we want to move the hand as just a teeny weeny to the right there, as I did now. And then there is something that we have to fix down here with his little finger here. And the question is also about the scale. Are we scale is also important. Okay, so let's start. I think it's best if we just start drawing here so we can. Okay, so start layer, and we are on with our cyan 20%. Thank you very much. And we have a thumb that goes down here. And the question is, one important question is, how long should this thumb be? Because to me it looks a little too elongated, but I guess if I make this, if I make more white here in the thumb, a little thicker, then perhaps that solves the, because it's not always easy to see. So, and here comes a very beautiful well, here is something that should be very beautiful when it looks like the original Tintin Tintin panel. Okay, so we have that, and then we have the costume or the suit here going straight down more or less like that, and then but I have this feeling that the hand should be a little here, because the area here, I'm looking at this area here in the shirt, which is in between his the back of his head, so to speak, here, and this, and that should be more elongated. So I'm drawing on this side here now, just to fix that. And then there should be a very slight angle change here until we come to this point here. And this finger here, the first pointing finger, almost looks like it's the thickest finger, apart from or if not that, at least the finger which has the most exposed area. Although the little finger here also has a lot of exposed area, but I think in terms of the other two, they are more hidden, partly. Okay, so, but still I'm here, and I'm moving this a little to the left, also this line here. And this should actually here be less. The distance here to the very tip here is, there should be not much white here. So, and also there should be, the stroke is quite thick here also, which I have to make it thicker here so we don't. Okay, so I have to look at that without the red underdrawing there. Okay, and then this one also comes here, and it's surprisingly thick here, I would say. It goes down, slightly different angle than the one immediately above. And there's too much white here in the middle finger there. So we have to exactly what this angle should be is a mystery to me. Oh, they're even rhyming. That's not bad. And then we are doing something like that. It has to go up and down. And then this finger goes further down here and changes, and then goes more into the hand then later on. And this distance and this stroke here I'm working on now, that should be, this one should be the longest. And then comes this one. And then we have this that should end more vertically there than it did before. And we should also move this up a little bit, this. So that should sort of end here. Okay. And I'm now going to hide the red there. Oh, whoops. And we are perhaps not so far off. I'm fixing this well. It's the thumb well. I don't know what it's called. See, we cleaning this up a little bit here. And it looks like this angle here is pretty good. But this stroke is not so bad. And that it should go more something like that. Maybe a little more smooth here. And then we have Tintin there back on the back there that we have. There's a line there that is sort of interfering a little bit, but if I go solo on the hand, so you can see what I've done so far, and then I'm keeping Alt down and clicking on the visibility here. So right, so we can fix that color line on Tintin later on, so that it doesn't interfere. But for now, we're just doing the calculus's hand. Now here what we want to do, I think, is I think we want to, okay, we have white on the brush. Okay, so let's refine this line here a little bit. And there should be like this should go down a little bit here and then up. So there should be like a concave, I think it's called, like a telescope mirror, one of those telescope mirrors for where you have a reflector kind of design, not the refractor. I think that's a convex lens on that one, both in the eyepiece and in the big lens in the very front, but in a reflector we have like a curvature that goes like this. So the hand here is a very has a very slight such curvature, so it sort of comes up here again. Okay, so we have to so it's this one here at the very end there that should be part of, and then it should go down. So this goes up here a little bit and then it comes down. And also there should be, maybe this even is somewhat longer here. Yes, I think that's, maybe that's one of the, this is slightly longer, so it's something like that, and even more. That. And then the line thickness is also, so this should be a little more there, like that. Okay, and now, but now here, down here, that line should be almost, yeah, this should be almost like parallel to this one here. So we have an overshoot here with that line coming it's coming over. So if you go up here and look at the hand in bigger scale here, the overshoot up here is approximately one thickness of this line here, and the same down here. So the overshoot is not just it's not just an accident, right? So the same thing goes here, as as I said before, in terms of the Professor Calculus's head going into the balloon. There must be a certain minimum. So if you want to sort of overshoot, you have to do it not half a pixel, not 1 pixel, but you have to do it at least one thickness away, one line thickness. So it's not a fixed number in that sense. It's fixed relative to the line thickness. That's how I would think about it. Okay, so all right. So we are at 300%, and we are it's like a grammar lesson, this, or okay, so we have an equal line quality here up to this. When this folds, there's a slight fold here, so we're going, so the angle of this finger is it's steeper up like that than this finger here, so the angle goes up. But now there's too much space here for the fingertip, so we have to fix that in the next round. But in terms of the thickness, we are almost there. And we just have to, but the thickness on this upper finger, of course, is we have to fix, because this is going to be a little thicker up here. But if we do it thicker up there, then this white will be okay, so therefore we cannot do that. Okay, so we have to move that down. We have to, okay, so first we have to establish the upper line there to see the sort of the white, how much white is there. Okay, so I will extend this a little bit here. Okay, so if we can accept that finger as done, then we can add the blue ink here, or the blue color on the bottom, kind of on the lower side of the line. And then we have, so we adjust it like that instead. Okay. And then it should go approximately to there. And then the angle should continue from there. And then of course this is much too wide now, so we have to fix this again. And maybe we can even take this out a tiny bit more, or maybe the white should go out there. And then when we, okay, so let's do that. Then we paint with the blue, and I'm now trying to see this white area here. I'm trying to recreate the white area. Well, it's colored on the original panel, of course, but I'm looking at the area now, not the lines. So I'm sort of delineating, trying to see those lines. I'm trying to see the area. I'm trying to replicate the area, not the lines. Of course, I'm using the lines to narrow, like a fence. I'm moving the fence here to be able to achieve the white area. It feels like this middle finger it's too wide, but now I think it's more. But I can see clearly now that he really has two folds here. So we have to be aware of that. And I'm now polishing up here the one should be more straight here, and then the one folding there, and then maybe it must be more in here, slightly in here, so we get less white on the middle fingers than tip of the middle finger there. So there's one fold here, and then a very slight one there, and then another one here approximately. But the difference in angle is perhaps half a degree or a third of a degree or something like that. It's not. Also, the line thickness of this line here it's thicker up here than it is down here. So what we can start with is to shave it off here first, because here it should be this size approximately, and it goes up, but then it becomes wider up here gradually. And then it sort of ends like that. So now that's not too bad, and what I'm doing now is I'm going to correct this angle here, because this angle is, it must be more to the left here on the down stroke. Yeah, and then it has to sort of go out here a little bit, and then we're going to round that off here. And even the angle could be a little more. But if we do that, then we're going to take it in a little bit more there. But all right. And then I think the exercise here is to do the same thing. We are going to try to see the white space in here in the fourth finger. I don't know if is the name the ring finger, I think. And you can correct me if I'm wrong. I'd be happy for any advice. So what I'm doing now is I'm vacuuming here away to be able to arrive at my desired white space, and we can see here that the space in between here, up here, is maybe only a third of the space across here, and the space across here is less than it is here on the middle finger. So I think we are pretty good. We are just going to go back to the blue. Yes, we are there. Yeah, and 20%, thank you. And we have to narrow this in just a tiny bit there, so we get our 33% of the width, and then it goes out again there. And this line here at the small finger is, it's actually, well, when we have moved this one, what I'm doing now, when we've moved this and we have scaled down, because this is not a very thick line, it's just an ordinary line thickness here. So when we have done this nicely, then we can move in here this other line, because this outline here should only go like half a thickness out from the ring finger. Okay, so what I'm saying is that it should be very close here to the ring finger. And it should also not be very thick, which is how we can get this all together here. And the angle should go a little down here, I think. And probably, yeah, this angle here also. This must start earlier there. So we get, because in the original picture, this, when the little finger sort of on its way back to the base of the hand, it folds here, and the fold comes right before the shoulder here on Tintin. So what we want to do is we want to try to, whoops, wrong. We want to get some white, and we want to, I think the angle seems to be pretty good. We want to continue here to get this right, and then, but then here we will not have a curvature like this. We will not have a convex one. We want a concave one, or whatever. We want to bend on the other way, so to speak. So not like that, but more like that. Although I'm exaggerating, of course, in terms of the actual radius, but still. Okay, what I want to have some blue, 20%, thank you, and the angle at which this comes back to the hand. Less, it must be more straight, but nevertheless a little concave. So this is once again one of those situations where we, and I think also here we have to move it in slightly more so that we can fold it in here and still not get too thick. So we can try this out. So if I could decide, if I'm just looking at the white space now, I would want to have it here, but I am, there's something strange with this little finger here. How shall we do this to get it good, to get it nice? That is the question, but we will just keep on going and try our best and enjoy the process. And let's fill this in to see what we get. There's also, here is a little concave, or it's a little bent, like, and it must be longer. Okay, so maybe that's one, and then the angle. Okay, so if we move this out a little bit to the right here, and then we go in a little bit here, and then we come longer further down there, and then we fold it in here. I'm not sure. We will see. We will see what it looks like. So, I mean, but maybe it's this point here that I should be concentrating on, because this looks, and I will be shaving off a little thickness here to try to replicate the original, moving it slightly. And I think maybe the angle here is slightly off here, so which might explain. So if we restore, I think we restore this, I think that was actually in terms of the white area, I think this was the white area of the ring finger. I think this was pretty good. Unless, of course, this, right, I think that one of the problems also is this line here. So if we make this go down more here, more straight down, that's maybe one of the culprits here. And then we are like that. And then I think that looks better. And then it has to, of course, go out here as we were talking about before. And this line thickness down here in sort of at the neighboring to the backhand there, then that line thickness is thicker than the line thickness up here. So that's at least something. And there should be a slight curvature here also to this line here, more than I have accomplished so far. So and I'm also going to correct a little thing here. Maybe maybe ends in a little like that. No, it doesn't. It shouldn't have that shape. More like that. That line should definitely be up there. Well, okay, and then maybe the curvature down here also needs to be corrected a little bit, and the angle more perhaps. So goes in a little bit more there, and then I think even the ink here is a little more ink up here, and then the ink comes back down here when he turns his pen. So as I have been saying for the last couple of parts, I'm quite convinced that Auger in the original panels were using a fountain pen or a dip pen with a metal nib, because the strokes always looks like this, that they're not equally thick. So he is not using a technical pen, most certainly. He's not using one of those Pigma Micron or Copic black technical pens, but he is using either a fountain pen or some kind of dip pen with like a metal nib. So that's what I think, judging from the line quality when we're looking at it in like on a bigger scale as we're doing now. Okay, so I think this is it's a better hand in many ways, but I still wonder about I think we have to do a couple of adjustments still, and that is that the thickness here and thickness here, and maybe even in the little finger, they are too thick, which makes the hand more square than it should have been. So it should be more because in our original sketch it was smaller. So in one sense this was like a better approximation in terms of the width of the hand, but here we have better lines than we had before in terms of smoothness and in terms of direction and in terms of interplay. So what I'm going to do now is I'm going to adjust the width by using my lasso, and I'm going to cut and copy, and we'll see about that when I come back from my little break. Okay, so I'm back from my break and we will continue here with some little fixing and tricksing before we start our copying, as we just said. Because I see here now that we really want to delay this line here a little. We want to make it less thick. But we want to keep some thickness there in the over. So there's some slight extra thickness there. Alright, so, but now what we're going to do is we are going to merge, and then I'm just going to do another quick adjustment here, and that I see here now that this line could go a little up here. Maybe not that much. Okay, just undo a small. Okay, maybe this one has to go down here. Come down here or something. Okay, so now let's take that start layer, and I'm going to lasso here. The first finger seems to be alright, or nearly so, but the second layer, the main thing I want to adjust here are those two here, and perhaps, well, let's see what we still have our original layer, of course, so we can always revert back if we would like to. So I'm outlining here, and I'm taking everything now down here in the hand, selecting and copying, pasting, and V for move. And now what I want to do is I want to go up 1 pixel to see how that feels, and 1 more to see how that feels. And it's almost like here that the white, it should be almost disappearing here, the white, when these two longer fingers when they are close together there. So I think that's a pretty good approximation. And then we can also move up the little finger. After we have made it a little longer. So the question is if it's not longer, but we have the what I'm talking about is this point here. Should that point be 3 pixels down, this little knuckle there? I'm going going to so this is the okay, I'm going to lasso out. Oh, okay, maybe first I should we get our distances right first? Okay, then I'm lassoing also this finger here. And I'm putting it on top of the other one. And then I can adjust it as I want it. So in terms of the angles, I think it's pretty good. And now I think it looks better. So if we can just, okay, okay, I see how we are going to do this. Yeah, good. Good. Yep. Okay, so we're going to merge all these three into a new layer, copy of that, and we're going to rename this to moved fingers, and then I'm going to take a copy of that and say fixed ring finger. Because now I'm going to fix here with some white. I'm going to change this point here is too early, so I'm going to very carefully remove a little white there, and then we're going to remove a little here as well. And we have to redo this to get back some. And then we're going to bend the curve a little bit here and smooth it up. So in terms of thickness, this line is sort of tapering off like that, and I'm making this I'm just cleaning up this here. It's a little too broad stroke here. So. Okay, and then the angle here should be corrected. So I'm going in my blue 20% here. So the angle must be, it's going in, but so I'm back to white. So we're starting off in in that direction, but then it's still going a little longer down there. That's more like it, I think. And then we still have to have a little less thickness here. We can have more thickness down here, but okay. And the question is maybe even further down here. Maybe even just a little more down here. That point there, and then yeah, I think that's better. We get a little bent there. All right, so that's what. Let's see. Let's compare with the red one we had in terms of. Let's multiply this one. See. So I think that looks much better in terms of the difference here with too broad compared to the red one, and now we have a tighter one which looks more proportional, and but still I mean there's something to be said for maybe there's some angle that is wrong that sort of contributes to the illusion or the impression, how to say it. So I'm going to bring my original, I think this is one of the problems. I had my original, or I had the original Tintin drawing at 300%, and that wasn't a good decision. One thing that I'm missing a little bit here is that I want to move up this a little bit, like that. And then I want to clean that up. And then we are having a nice rounded shape here. We should have a nice rounded shape here. Okay, so then let's continue here with this part here, and let's take a new layer here. So it's just So we want to I call this lower thumb area, but so I'm meaning this one here. I don't know what it's called in English, but let's work on the curvature here, because obviously this stroke here down here isn't perfectly aligned. So the shapes are okay, so let's have a stab at it here now. And so what I'm seeing is that this must go more out here. The angle here when it comes in looks good, but it's just that this should be. And now I'm painting the outside first, but maybe I should have looked at the whiteness here, because there are quite a few strokes here in the background, so it's hard to see where the exact line goes. So it's easier to look at the white outline here, so to speak, where I am now. So how can I get this white outline? I can get it by erasing a little more here, or painting with white. And the angle here should be almost exactly vertical when it comes down. So that's the okay. So in this scale, let's now just cut out a little white around there, so we can move it without. And one to the left, two to the left, and it should be one thumb white area away from the end of the hand there. So the position seems to be good. Maybe even there. But then the question is where if this actually goes there, or if it goes a little. I think actually we're going to go back to that layer, and we're going to change this angle just a little bit. So it's something like that instead. Okay. And now we can move it or keep it there. We can do the V for the move tool, bring it down. And then on the, but then we also see here that the, over here, this point here, if I continue this line here with in between the middle finger and the ring finger, if I go straight down, I almost touch this line here. So we are on the right track. Maybe, but maybe I just put it up. Well, maybe not. It depends on how we can. Let's do this, because one thing that is problematic with this part of the drawing is that it's too fuzzy. It's not it's too thick line, and there shouldn't be a thick line anyway. So I'm going to start fixing this up. Noting that there's a slight angle difference here in coming from the fingers and the angle of this line here. So the difference should be something like this, and the line thickness should be less than in between the fingers. So we have some and the direction of, on the original drawing, this sort of hits when the curvature is almost finished from coming from the thumb and down here. And also I see that the scale is different. So we have to make it smaller. Something like that. And perhaps even one notch more. Okay, just have to fill this in slightly here. But there should be also a curvature to this, so it shouldn't look like this. There should be a nice rounded curve here. Beautiful as ever. A thicker in the middle there, and then slightly less. And then goes more straight down there. Well, something along those lines there. That doesn't look very good in small, so we are going to try to reinstate the a little more thickness there. But it's really pixel work, this. Okay. But in terms of scale, there is something fishy still going on there, and that is that it seems that as if the hand still is not slender enough. Or maybe this is just because the point, right, okay, maybe the point of, okay, so maybe I think what we could be doing here is simply that the distance here is too small. So what if we move up? Let's see if we can do that. So we save that, then lower thumb area there, and then we are going to lasso our way. Let's see if we just expand, we make this section longer. To see if we can get a better proportion of the hand. I think that's one of the, I think that's much better in terms of proportions. Because basically what happens in the real Tintin, in the original Tintin, is that when the thumb comes down here, if I follow, drag a line down right here, then I divide this space here along here in two. And that doesn't happen now. So what I'm doing, I'm going to take 2 more pixels there. Like that. And then I'm also going to, well, maybe that's enough. Or maybe that's too much. Okay, maybe I'm going down, I'm backing down there. 300%. Let's see if I can look at it like that. think that's better. It's certainly better than before, and I think that's even what I am a little hesitant is that I see that this part of the over here, that it should be have a slightly different curve there. But I think in terms of the proportions of the hand, it's better. And if we move if we adjust this, we may able to fix it further. Okay, so I think we'll start there. So I'm going to merge this, and we're going to say longer fingers, or some longer, not longer, well, longer, well, I'm writing longer fingers here, even though it's not perfect description. And now I'm going to duplicate that, and I'm going to write lower thumb area again here, number 3. I'm going to look at this once more here. Okay, let's see. So it's I think one problem then here is also the thumb itself, because and the problems start already here at this point here, so the angle here is slightly different, and then it goes quicker out here, and then it folds a sort of like a two-step process here. So if I have I can show you here like a guide here. Let's do it green. So as I understand it, what we want is that we have two tangents here. 20%, thank you. We have one tangent going here, and then we have which sort of ends at the, like here, so this line here that comes from the index finger. So it goes there, and then there is a gradual curve sort of going back to the hand. So that is what I think is going on there. Right, so we are we are not too far off actually. So we go back to our cyan, but what I have been doing is to, oh no, I have two of these cyans, unfortunately. Okay, we like our F's, so we can do that. Flipping the foreground and background, and we are wanting this almost vertical stroke here as an end, as a crescendo, or no, maybe it's a diminuendo. It ends like a non-ecstatic end, but still the curve is just so fantastic, I think. And the curve is like it's so this angle here it's so hard to see exactly where the curvature starts and ends. And maybe it also, oh yeah, maybe it also, the problem is that it goes to, I think that's the, okay, now, so on the original, the point where you get his arm starts, that point is, if you follow the middle finger, or this not the index finger but the one next to it there, if you follow that point, the middle of that, if you take the middle of that and then you use this angle for this finger and you go down, then you haven't actually reached the, so it's actually this one then that we have to follow. So this one in parallel, and then we are actually down. Maybe it should be a little more up then, but this curvature must start earlier. Is that the angle here should not be so much, perhaps. Perhaps that is the trick. That we have an more equal curvature along. So maybe that guideline there I drew should be very short. Maybe that's the whole secret, that it should be quite short, and that but there is something also to be said for the scale. There's something so how long is the thumb? The thumb in the original is not as long as the little finger, so that is promising. So the scale is not completely off, and so in order to get something nice, this is, I don't know about you, but this curvature reminds me of Donald Duck, and like this is I don't know, I've seen that. Maybe they are related somehow, but it shouldn't be. Should it go? Maybe there isn't. There should be a little. Maybe it's not perfectly vertical. Maybe there should be some 2-degree difference there, perhaps, or some, which I'm. But what I am seeing here is that this whole thing should be more equally. There shouldn't be any sharp almost all the way like that. So it's very very soft curve there. I should go a little more there, but well, it's not super bad, at least. And now we can, and in terms of the width here, also we have a more width here on the outside, or on the lower. It's wider here than, so I think the thickness comes here also. But again, it's a little hard to see because there are so many details. Tintin's shirt is behind, and there's the collar, and there's some other strokes as well for the clothes. So, and maybe we can erase this one also as well here. So okay, so I think that's not so bad. And then while we are at it, we are also going to fix this. We're going to move this a little bit here, now that we have made that a little move there, and then that sort of works better. But what we should be doing here now is we should go down here, and we should erase, or we should use our white here, and just do like that, and come back with our 20% blue. We should try to find the angle here, which isn't always so easy to do. And then we should, and in terms of, so this length here of this stroke is approximately 2 thicknesses. So we can use that then. And then we are going to, his suit comes here. Like so. Okay. And another thing is that it looks like he is also he's sort of, the hand goes in here slightly. So, and we are having white on there, sort of bends inwards like that. Okay, another detail here is that we are going to make a new layer here. We're going to say a vertical stroke here. So we're going to fix and tricks a little here in this part of the drawing. And basically there is something, this goes a little down there. I just want to, we have some, it should be quite thick, a little thicker than the fingers, and it should be slightly curved also, as I think that evenly, so to speak. And there's also fixing that point there, and alright, we can fill this up here also, but not right now perhaps. And maybe a little retouch on the twirl here down there. Okay, I think that's pretty good. And the last thing I'll do with the hand, and now of course I already see that it's 2 hours already, and so we have to wrap it up, but we will do a last change here now, and we will do a scale rescaling, maybe. So let's work with rescaling, and then I want to see Tintin. I want to see everyone here. Tintin refined, I want to see. Oh, it's because I haven't, it's a multiply here. Alright, so here they are again. So now we just want to rescale and reposition, and to check that it really looks like. So I'm taking down the original drawing here on my left monitor down to 200. Or maybe I can use the 300 instead. I think that's more appropriate. Okay, so we have 300 then, because we have the balloon up here and the panel down there, so we get the whole picture here. So in terms of if we can keep this scale, let's move. Okay, so I'm selecting the hand now, and V for move tool, and I'm putting in So I'm now looking at this portion here, and the ear and the mouth and the distance in between here and the distance in between there, and there is some discrepancy there, but maybe it is because the mouth should be moved to the right. I'm not sure, but let's keep this distance here. Maybe we can change that later, because the hand is movable, so we can fix things later if we persist. But what I wanted to sort of check now is that we have the basic proportions right, and the verdict is that looking at the original drawing, I think that the hand looks a little too much to the right. And it looks a little big, and there's too little of the suit here coming up. So I think my first initial here with the rescaling, that I think that's a valid. But now the rescaling is, of course, in the whole canvas here. So I'm cutting out this part only here, and then I'm renaming it, and then I'm removing the old one here. We don't need more than the. Oh, did I something do? Oh, what is it? Oh, all right. Rescale, multiply, of course. Okay. So when I am now rescaling, I'm trying to bring more of the suit back into the picture. And I'm trying to position it, the thumb to the ear, and the thumb should be below the tip of the mouth, the peak of the mouth, so to speak. So that works well, and it should be slightly above the ear, this lower earlobe. And this distance from the ear should be as it is now. But the fingers shouldn't be as far out as this. So that is a, and then of course there should be a little more suit there. So I'm going to make it a little smaller. And then the angle should go more down. So we need even more reduction there. But then what is worrisome is that maybe it's the angle also, because I flip the angle, then so let's see if this works. Because the area here right now looks good. The thumb is also above the earlobe, and it's could be a little higher, but maybe something like that. But I don't want that. I want it there. Maybe actually even, well, no. Let's do it above the earlobe, thank you. And okay. So it's just that this distance here down to the panel frame is a little too long. So this is difficult, and there actually should be more of the suit shining through here. There should be a little more. And also this space here should be longer, so I think we actually have to somehow or other take it up again a notch here. And we are now so that we will get the right as far as that goes. As far as the fingers and the so it's not perfect, because there should be more suit there. Let's move this down a little more. Then move this up a little more. And then okay, I think we could live with that actually. And we are now just, and then I'm just going to do one quick thing here down here, and I'm going to change the angle here to go a little more down there. Little more down there. something like that. Okay. Final touches here before we call it today. And the thickness here should be actually of the line should be smaller, so we get more white than I expected. And also maybe, well, I'm not going to touch this now. It's all right, I think. Okay, good. So now we are is this a whole, so I'm soloing this now, and that's it, I think. Another session, and as a quick reminder, 987 degrees centigrade, that's the book to look after and look for in the printed comic book section of your online supplier, and I'll give you the link to that later on, but it's not so you have lots of time. If it's September 2019, you have a couple of months more to go, so it's but you can put it in the back of your head, and I'll let you know when it arrives. So if you subscribe and do all that stuff, then you'll be sure to get the announcement of the comic book album. Okay, so thank you very much for now, and I will be happy to see you in the next video. Bye bye.